The Hoosiers have what should be an easy game in store on Saturday against Akron. We'll get you everything you need to know just before that contest. Also, the women's basketball team had their Big Ten schedule and full schedule released on Thursday. We'll get you the big takeaways from that as well.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are Locked On Hoosiers, the only daily IU podcast, part of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Shout out to all of you, wherever you may be tuning in from, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, whatever it is. Thank you guys for listening to us and hopefully making us your first listen every day. Shout out to our sponsor, LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. The Hoosiers have, as I said, what should be an easy game on Saturday. How much faith you have in the team and their ability to make that an easy game, something we'll discuss later, is probably dependent on each person, but it is a really bad Akron team. Everydayers will remember or will know that on Thursday, if you guys did not listen to that show, we dove in at the end of the show to this Akron team. There isn't a lot to preview. It's an Akron team that has not played a good schedule. They're 1-2. Their only wins against an FCS school, and they have been average defensively and woeful offensively. So it's a game the Hoosiers should be able to take care of. Let's get you all the info heading into this one. IU versus Akron, 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. We're not going to have a live show Saturday night as we have the last couple games. We'll do it Sunday, most likely. So be on the lookout for that. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it over there. Game will be in Memorial Stadium on Big Ten Network. The Hoosiers in Akron have met 3 times, Indiana winning each one of those handily. Probably not as handily as you would like, but by double digits on each one. The last of those coming in 2010 when IU won 35-10. Ben Chappell threw for 4 touchdowns in that game. The Hoosiers were up 35-14 before Akron scored in the fourth quarter to somewhat make it respectable. Ted Bolzer caught a couple touchdowns in that game. Shout out to him. Tandon Doss ran for a touchdown in that game. Terrence Turner had 6 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown as well. There's some names that you probably haven't thought about in a while in that one. That was a fun one. The year prior to that was, again, a lot more names that you probably haven't thought of in a while. The Hoosiers won 38-21 in that contest. And Ben Chappell, again, 2 touchdowns and an interception in that one. His touchdowns went to Gritchell Evans, some even call him. Max Dedman caught a touchdown, and then Trey Burgess, Darius Willis ran for touchdowns. Akron threw 4 interceptions in that game. I was trying to pull up who had them. Austin Thomas had a couple. Tyler Replogle had one. He also led the team in tackles, had a sack, couple tackles for loss. He was everywhere for that Indiana team. So the Hoosiers have not had issues against Akron in the past, and hopefully that will continue. A little fun fact from the media guide or the preview from IU's website. IU is 39-9-1 overall against the conference, have played 11 of the 12 members of the current alignment. Buffalo, the only team they have not played in that conference currently. Why not schedule them? We're clearly not looking to play teams like Louisville, so schedule Buffalo and complete playing the entire conference and mark that one down, I guess. But yeah, the Hoosiers have an extensive history with the MAC, and fortunately, a largely successful one. Hopefully, they get win number 40 on Saturday. FanDuel has the Hoosiers still by 17 points, minus 1,000 odds on the money line, over under of 46 and a half. SP Plus, obviously, if you guys have listened to the show every dayers will know we reference it a lot. So far, it's been accurate in determining the result. The scoreline, maybe not so much, but a lot of that is kind of baked in projections to what the season is going to look like. IU is favored in this one by 17.7 points, 85% win probability in this one. 34-17 is the projected score line. I'd be a little surprised if the score was close to that. Akron's offense is really bad, and IU's defense appears to be pretty good when they're taking things seriously, I guess, on outside of the first half against Louisville. That second quarter against Indiana State wasn't great. Largely speaking, they've been a good defense. I could see this being something closer to like a 31-10 type of score. Then I'd be 34-17 is hitting the over by some margin, and I don't know unless it is like largely garbage time scores. I would be surprised if Akron scores that much. Let's take a look at some of the things to watch, storylines, focuses, whatever you want to call it. Just some notes about this game. I didn't want to dive too deep into it because I don't think this is going to be a particularly X's and O's heavy type of game like last week's was, but we'll take a look at what I'm focusing on, and maybe you guys can throw in your thoughts in the comments as well. Before we do that, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. We all have a LinkedIn. Head over there now, post your job for free, add that purple hashtag hiring frame to your profile, add your job, spread the word that you're hiring. They have simple tools like screening questions to make it easy to focus on candidates with the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. New sponsor to talk about today. If you guys love the convenience of getting what you want right to your door, then DoorDash grocery delivery is for you. You can stock up for the week or order last-minute cravings conveniently. You've trusted DoorDash to deliver your restaurant favorites, and now you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to $20 when you use code LOCKEDONCollege at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20 and zero delivery fees on your first order. When you download the DoorDash app in the App Store, enter code LOCKEDONCollege. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, 50% off your first order. Thanks to you guys for making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen every single day. College football season is well underway. You guys got to try out Locked On College Football Live. If you've listened to us early enough today, it'll be on at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. If not, it's on every Locked On College YouTube channel. You can go back and listen to it, watch it, whatever that may be after you're finished here. They have the insight only Locked On can provide with your playoff implications, your conference rivalry games, all of the above. So check out Locked On College Football Kickoff Live every Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, any Locked On College YouTube channel. Let's take a look at some of the notable storylines, I guess. I'm not really sure how to phrase this because there's not really any kind of matchup I'm watching in this one. there's just things I want Indiana to do. For one, take care of business. Don't. And this was a similar thing I had for the Indiana State game. Don't make this an annoying game. Don't make this a silly game. IU is better than Akron, and my hope is they come out, step on the throttle right away, and put some distance between them, and then don't let up. Like, don't coast. I don't know if that's what happened in the Indiana State game. We'll talk about that in a second, but set the tone from the start, come out, perform, and there's still some things you can improve upon, learn. It is a team that you are better than, but that doesn't mean that there isn't things you can improve upon. So building that chemistry obviously is a big thing, but at the end of the day, just take care of business. Don't make this a silly game. Have some consistency is the other thing. Play for 4 quarters. I don't know that Indiana's done that for the last 2 games. I'll mark off garbage time against Indiana State that 4th quarter. But that 2nd quarter, I didn't think they played good in that Indiana State game. And then obviously against Louisville, that first half was woeful, just awful. So have some consistency. I'll give you the pass if it's garbage time in the 4th quarter, but make it garbage time in the 4th quarter. Play hard, take care of business through the first 3 quarters, and really just don't. I know these are kind of the same things, but I really don't want to worry about an IU football game at 9:00 at night against Akron on Saturday. Like, just come out and do what you're supposed to do. This is what good teams do, and I don't know that Indiana is necessarily a good team, but if they want to be a bowl team, they need to play. They need to come out and not mess around in this type of game. I also think it sets a good tone, not just in this game, but heading into conference play. If you can come out and have this win kind of securely under your belt, you didn't mess around, and you can head into conference play with a little bit of momentum, I think that's a good thing. So the big, I guess, quarter to watch, the 2nd quarter has been odd for the Hoosiers. We mentioned the Indiana State game. I mean, the whole first half was bad against Louisville, but that 2nd quarter, it seemed like it got really bad. So don't have whatever that 2nd quarter dip is this game, and just power through it and keep putting up the points and keep Akron on its back foot. If we're the only kind of X's and O thing I'm going to really be focused on is the run blocking for the Hoosiers. Pass blocking has been good. We talked earlier this week, everydayers again. Well, remember, we shared the story about Taven Jackson taking his offensive line out to get some steak dinners this week. And that was because he wasn't sacked against Louisville. And this offensive line has been dramatically improved, but that's because, as much as anything, the bar was on the floor. This is still an offensive line that maybe it's below average overall in the Big Ten, and there's still room to grow. Now, I'm a lot more optimistic about where this offensive line can go. They appear to be good in pass blocking, good enough. They have someone like Taven Jackson that can escape pressure, and they block good enough. But the run blocking hasn't been great. Against Indiana State, it looked good because it was Indiana State, but I would like to get back to that and improve upon that and have some big runs and let Jalen Lucas get free and things like that. But there is improvement needed in the run blocking. I guess one last point I kind of thought of on the fly. We mentioned earlier this week, Taven is still kind of in an audition phase in terms of, is Dexter Williams going to supplant him whenever he gets healthy? So these games do matter to Taven. And so continuing him playing well after that second half against Louisville and that type of play calling, that type of aggressive play calling is what I'm hoping for in this one. Let him throw the ball, let him find receivers, and let them make plays. And if you do that, I think this is going to be a game where you take care of business. So, should be a fun one. I hope it's not an interesting one. I hope IU just takes care of business in this, but we will have all that coverage for you after the game on Sunday, most likely, certainly into next week. Women's basketball team had their schedule entirely released on Thursday. We'll get you the notable parts of it, including another tough close to Big Ten play, just like the men's team. We'll dive into that in a moment. Snap into this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. You can throw it down on the Hoosiers, as we mentioned earlier in the show, minus 17, over under 46.5. I would take the Hoosiers. I don't know about the over under, but I would take IU to cover on this one. And even if you're wrong, you get the bonus bets for free at FanDuel. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Let's look at the women's basketball schedule. It was released in whole. We had a lot of pieces to it already, as we did the men's schedule. There wasn't really anything of note. If you guys haven't been following, they're going to play Stanford at Stanford on November 12th. That'll be a really big game. Stanford's going to be top 10, top 15 that early in the season. They're going to go to Fort Myers, Florida. They'll play Tennessee, who they played last season. They'll play them again. They'll play Princeton as well, of recent NCAA tournament foe. 2 seasons ago, they played them. They're going to go up to Maine and play. Why Maine? That's where Mackenzie Holmes is from. So go back home or near home for her up in Maine. Then your first interesting thing happens, because that Maine game's on November 30th. It doesn't look like IU found any substitute for the ACC Big Ten Challenge. So there's 10 days off between that Maine game and then playing Rutgers to open the Big Ten season. They will play at Rutgers on December 9th to open Big Ten play. Another 9 days off, that one for finals and things like that. And then they play Evansville at home. So between November 30th and December 18th, one game. Really big break in there. Then they have a couple of, or they have Bowling Green before Christmas, Illinois on New Year's Eve. And then we dive into Big Ten play. Big Ten's going to be interesting this season. I think there are 4 teams that are going to be at the top: IU, Iowa, Maryland, and Ohio State in some order. And so those are going to be your games to watch. The first of those matchups will come January 13th. The Hoosiers travel to Iowa. They won the last game in Iowa, but IU won the Big Ten tournament, or the Big Ten title, excuse me. So both those games are going to be high intensity this season. The first Purdue game comes January 21st on a Sunday in West Lafayette. And then you have at Maryland. I believe that is they play them twice. So at Maryland will come on January 31st. That's a tough stretch. From January 13th through the 31st. At Iowa, you're home against Minnesota. At Purdue, you're home against Northwestern. And at Maryland, probably 3 of your toughest road games of the season. 3 of maybe your 4 toughest road games in Big Ten play are going to come in that span. I mean, really, if you want to go to the next game, you play at Ohio State. So at Iowa, at Purdue, at Maryland, at Ohio State between January 13th and February 4th. Those are your 4 toughest Big Ten road games. And they all come just bang, bang, bang in a row. Whew, buckle up, because we're going to learn about IU in that stretch and how good they're going to be. Ohio State's going to be really good this season. They have that full court press that, largely speaking, IU hasn't had issues with, but in the Big Ten tournament, they imploded against it. So that'll be interesting to watch. After that, it's a home-heavy schedule, but you have a couple of doozies in there. You'll play Michigan State and Purdue back-to-back at home. You'll go to Wisconsin and Illinois. And then the final 3 games of the season, Iowa at home on a Thursday night. That will be loud. The last Iowa game was very loud. You'll travel to Northwestern, and then Maryland at home on a Sunday to end the Big Ten season. Good chance there's title implications in that game. It came down to the wire in the final weeks last season. No reason to believe that might not happen, or that might happen again. Might not happen again this season. That'll probably happen again this season. Let's word it that way. So Iowa and Maryland in 2 of your final 3 games. They'll both be at home, but that's a really tough close to the season. And then the Big Ten tournament is up in Minneapolis this year, later that week. So there's some tough parts of this schedule for the Hoosiers. They're going to have a lengthy break, as we mentioned, in early through mid-December. They'll have 1 game, but they'll make up for it in Big Ten play with a couple of tough stretches. So it's going to be a really fun Big Ten season. If you guys, I'm assuming most of you guys have been following the women's team. You should. The last 2 Big Ten seasons have been a blast. 2 years ago, and even with IU kind of collapsing down the stretch, it was a season in which IU led going into the final week and finished 5th, to tell you how incredible that one was. And then last year was a historic season where they won. It's tough billing to live up to, but there's legitimately 4 teams this year that I think can win the Big Ten. And so it's going to be fun to see them square off against one another once again. Absolutely should be tuning into this women's team. They're a blast to watch. As always, guys, thank you for making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen every single day. Every dayers, Sunday, tentatively, we'll have a live show. And then Monday, certainly, we will talk about this hopeful win for the Hoosiers against Akron. Follow us on Twitter if you have not already. Subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast at. Leave that quick rating and review. That helps us out a ton. I've been trying not to say it as much because I know you guys get tired of hearing it, but it really does help. If you guys are listening, just quickly give that 5-star review, and it is really helpful for us. Hope everybody has a great end of their week. Have a great Friday. And as always, guys, LEO.